right, we're back. So this is our part about contribution. I got many questions about that. Getting your kid to pitch in. Yeah, and they just won't pitch in, and how do we get them to pitch in? And there's some things L. Ron Hubbard wrote about it that I think will make it easier for you to have kids pitch in at home. So here I start. This is on the matter of contribution. You have no right to deny your child the right to contribute. Well, you should say, I'm not denying her, I'm telling her to. And but you've slipped into force when you're telling her to. And that's why she doesn't want to do it. Remember we talked earlier about you enforce it, they dig in just to be self-determined? So maybe the way to get your kid to contribute is to allow him or her to contribute. There's more on this. A human being feels able and competent only so long as he is permitted to contribute as much as or more than he has contributed to him. So here's the balance. He feels comfortable when he gives more than he gets. Is that real to you? Mm-hmm. You feel safer somehow. It's absolutely wonderful to work at a job where you know nobody can do what you do as well as you do it. You feel very safe. They need you, they want you, and they regularly say, oh, what would we do without you? Oh, now you feel safe there. That's how safe we have to make our children at home too, because too often we can do it better and quicker than they can. Can you imagine working somewhere where most everybody can do it better and quicker than you? Would you want to leave? And then they say, do it. Then, no, you're so good and fast, you do it. Yeah, but there's a way of dealing with this. L. Ron Hubbard goes on here. A man can over-contribute and feel secure in an environment. He feels insecure the moment he under-contributes, which is to say he gives less than he receives. And if you don't believe this, recall a time when everybody else brought something to the party and you didn't. How did you feel? Terrible. Funny, you know, and there's so much food and so much to drink, and it isn't really the issue, because there's going to be a lot left over anyway. But I don't know about you, I go to the nearest 7-Eleven and buy something. I don't care what, possibly even more than anybody else brings, just to not be in that position. This is also real to me when I'm sick. I'm not often sick, but when I am on my bed with a twisted ankle and I can't do for myself, well, the first day, it's kind of nice. They bring you things, you know, they feed you soup, and would you like this, and fluff up your pillow. The second day, it gets old. And the third day, you want to do anything, including hinky-pink on that one left foot that still works, and get it yourself. Because if they bring you one more thing, you're just going to scream. Yeah? Because the balance is disturbed. You feel terrible. And you don't want to inconvenience them. And oh my goodness, I need something else. I'm not even going to tell them. I don't want them to have to go and get it for me again. Yeah? Could you imagine that a child may feel that way? In the first year, he sort of lies there waiting for you to serve him. And from then on, you service him, and you service him, and you service him. And then little kids want to balance the score. They want to start to contribute. And you have to see that, no matter how unsophisticated their efforts are, and let them do it. And if you do, you won't have to enforce it later. Let's read about this, because this is very tricky. A human being will revolt. Do we have some revolting teenagers in society? And distrust any source which contributes to him more than he contributes to it. Distrust, after all you have stood by him, backed him up, been the best parents ever, he will distrust you and revolt against you if you give him more than he can give to you. Isn't it something? But there's a handle. Don't worry about it, but really let it sink in so you get it. I know this from this gentleman who's picking this lady up to go out. It's their date, right? Let's say first date. Now, it's okay if he brings flowers. You know, that's in exchange for her wonderful, sparkling company. That could be an exchange. But what if he brings flowers and chocolates and a dress? Will she revolt and distrust?
Yes.
Oh, absolutely. Because this unspoken balance that she knows she is obliged to make. Yeah. What do I agree to by accepting this? Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I wear it when he wants to. I don't wear it when he wants to. There is a catch. I distrust. Funny, huh? Kids do too. Now, we give and give and give and give and give because our darling parents gave and gave and gave, and we do what they do. There's that tricky thing again. But we have to break that pattern because we get what we have, which is kids which revolt and distrust. We don't want that. You can still give to them, but let's see how. So they revolt and distrust any source, which is the parents, which contribute to him more than he contributes to it. Feels degraded, all that. Parents naturally contribute more to a child than a child contributes in return. As soon as the child sees this, he becomes unhappy. Very little. Because of the same reason that I run out to 7-Eleven and get something. Yeah? Funny, huh? See how much they are like we are. Just this feeling of a balance. You don't have to have the words to express it to be aware of it. Yeah? It makes them unhappy. And what do we, of course, what do we do with unhappy kids? We run to Toys R Us and we give them more, right? Yeah. And it makes them very unhappy. And what do we do about that? We run to Toys. Yes, you got it. Mm-hmm. Now the child seeks to raise his contribution level. Little kids, 2-year-olds do this by grabbing a ruler, a stick, anything that approximates a vacuum cleaner, and copy the actions of mom vacuuming. She's helping. You got to see that for what it is. Oh, is that a piece of magic if you spot and acknowledge the unsophisticated but darling efforts to help. That includes the spilled tea with way too much milk, which water didn't boil, you know, on the tray with the lace that Aunt Martha made, that rips your heart apart, that is now all to pieces. But she comes in there, going, I made tea for you. My daughter did this recently. And everything I just told you is true. And I had to go, thank you, honey. But it is more important that I do that. Because if I come apart because of what she also did in an effort to help me, I will crush her. Because I came back from 7-Eleven with this bottle of whatever for the party, and then somebody says, you brought what? Oh. Sorry. I didn't mean to stay long. I'll leave. Yeah. You see? And she came with this tea all over the place. Yeah, and then she told everybody about it. I made mommy tea, and she liked it. Oh, it was worth it, you know? Yeah. So this is hard again on you, but oh, will you reap the benefits if you become very alert to these golden intentions, see them for what they are intended to be, no matter how they come out, and thank her. And say, you're such a helper. You are taking care of mommy. Yeah. Because you've been taking care of her for 5 years. It's time. And just say it. You know, I see you're really taking care of me. What would I do without you? I really need you to take care of me because sometimes I need a cup of tea. And who's going to make me a cup of tea but you? I mean, lay it on. Have at it. They love it. You see them physically grow inches. Because that's what they're trying to do. Spot the intention, no matter how it looks. Yeah? Okay. So he seeks to raise his contribution level, and failing, he gets angry at the contributing source. You don't let him, he gets mad. Yeah? You brought what? That's not what we need. Oh, well. I think you're a silly party anyway, and I didn't want to be here. I'm out. Whatever. You see? Yeah? He begins to detest the parents. Because the parents are saying, you have no value. You have nothing to contribute here. We don't need you. Of course, you're not part of any group that doesn't need you. Yeah? You don't mean to do it, but can you see that it might be the effect? Yeah? Okay. And then they try to override the kids' revolt by contributing more, and it's a vicious circle, and it goes around and around, right? Okay. I've actually had this happen to me. This was in a print shop. There were about 6, 7 people working in this print shop. They had some orders to get out in a hurry. They were tearing around. They all knew what they were doing. They were good. Paper is being moved, presses are going, people are racing, phones are ringing. And I come in, and these are my friends, these people. And I'm standing on the sideline like, anything I can do? You guys seem to be really busy. No, don't worry about it. We got it under control. Going really fast. Oh, there must be something I can do, guys. And then finally somebody stopped and said, there's a broom in the hall. If you would get it and get this floor clean before they come in with this new roll so they don't skid. I was so happy. They needed me. And it wasn't menial at all. I got that broom and I did a great job. And then he said, hey, thanks. That really helps. And I went, oh. And I felt I could stick around now. And I waited till they were through with the job. And I knew it was okay with them that I would stand around and wait, because I had contributed a little bit. They had wanted and needed me. I was of some value to them. I was good enough to help them. My contribution was acceptable to them. And so I knew we were friends and on the same team. And so I waited till they were all through, and then we went out for coffee and had a wonderful time. But if they didn't let me do a thing, I would have left. Would you? I would have felt very uncomfortable. I can only watch people work that hard for so long. Then I feel terrible. Yeah? Yeah. So, can you just look at how this is happening at home? Yeah. Okay. In the meantime, you are bending over picking things up of theirs and talking in front of them about things being expensive and making money and how much those orthodontists cost, and they feel so burdened. You have to put them to work. Have to let them. That's the thing. Okay, I carry on here. So this is a dwindling spiral we just described, right? And in the end, L. Ron Hubbard says here, the child will go into apathy. Apathy is no feeling. Pathos is feeling. Apathy is no feeling. Have you seen these completely numb teenagers? It's like, phew. They've stopped feeling. They're driven down to a no feeling. Can you imagine how long would you be able to stand in that print shop and watch your friends run? Years of standing on the side. Would you get a little non-feeling? Yeah, definitely. Yeah. So he goes on. You must let the child contribute to you. You can't order him to contribute. You can't command him to mow the grass and then think that that's contribution. Do you see the difference? That's ordering him around. Now he's following orders. That's not a gift. See, if I were at the party and they say, you, get some Johnny Walker. I didn't contribute. I followed orders. Oh, okay. I didn't feel good about myself. I was the gopher. Yeah? Especially, here's some money. Here, you, get some cotton. Yeah? Get some whiskey. Or chips or something. That wasn't my gift. But if I walk in the kitchen and say, hey, you want all those carrots chopped? You want me to help you? Can I just, let me do this. Oh, come on, I can help. Now I feel good. Yeah, that's what it takes. The key is not even the help. The key is the kid feels good and of value and can stop protesting and resisting and resenting you. That's what we're after. We want to preserve that beautiful line with your kid. So put him in a position where he can love you because he can love himself and have some sense of value that you acknowledge because you need him. See how it ties together? Yeah. So, a little bit more on this and then we'll wrap it up. So if he has not selected it, if he didn't originate it, if it didn't come from him, it's not a gift. So you have to hang back and let him, right? And acknowledge what he does. Ron says here, a baby contributes by trying to make you smile. And it is a gift. A baby will show off. A little later he will dance for you. But when kids are very young, we're still so enamored. We spot the dances, yeah? And bring you sticks and try to repeat your work motions to help you. If you don't accept those smiles and those dances and those sticks and those work motions in the spirit in which they were given, you have begun to interrupt the child's contribution. He will give up. I guess they don't want me. Yeah? Absolutely. Right now, my daughter is singing for me. She can't sing. Yet. But she will. It will be wonderful. But I spotted it finally, because we drive to school in the morning in the car together. And whenever I'm slightly grumpy or quiet or whatever, she starts singing. She wants to cheer me up. I went, oh, that's what she's doing. So I just break out in a big smile. Said, you're singing to me. It's an obvious thing, but I say it anyway. She goes, yeah. I was like, you see that? Like, I see you. You see me. You see that? Wonderful. She'll either learn to sing or do something else shortly. She wants a drum set. Really? Anyway, if you interrupt your child's very heartfelt intention to balance the score and contribute to you who've done so much for him or her, he will get very anxious. He'll get nervous. That will be the result. He will do unthinking and strange things to your possessions in an effort to make them better for you. And then you scold him for doing that, and that finishes him. Now, if you have kids, and that's really all I want to say about this subject of contribution, because I see you really got it. Yeah? You get a little quiet because you've done it all wrong, haven't you? Yeah. I have too. But I'm better now. My second child, I'm a lot smarter. But remember earlier we talked about how you can roll time back. You can do that on this subject too. Remember? Get comfortable, get on their level, hold each other, smile, chit-chat a little bit, touch, be there together until it's comfortable, and then say, you know, I just learned something. It's okay to say that. They're learning things all the time. They might as well have an example that you keep learning as you grow up. I just learned something, and I thought I'd tell you about it. And if I'm doing a little crying, then just don't get upset, because I feel very strong about this. But I got to tell you, because you're my dearest friend. That's a good way of starting any communication. I said, I realized that you've been wanting to help me for a long time, haven't you? You want to see who does the crying? The kid goes. It's never been acknowledged. There's a lot sitting there, and it's going to come off. And it must come off. And it's a good thing that it comes off. A great deal of hugging is fine. And you've been trying to help me and take care of me. And I just didn't pay enough attention to see it, did I? And I never thanked you enough for that, did I? And just let them pour. Let it all come out. Why don't you tell me some of the things that you were really trying to help me, and I didn't seem to see it? Because I'm really sorry about this. It's okay to say that. Yeah? Say, well, you know, when I did, and you just, oh my gosh, I'm sorry. You were really, you cannot say it enough. You were really trying to help Mommy, weren't you? God, you are a honey. Well, we're going to do it better. Is there another time that you were trying to really help me, that I just didn't see it or accept it or thank you for it? And make it safe and let them say it. And let them say it until they're all run down like an alarm clock. And then you say, well, that won't happen again, because I do need you, babe. I really do. And then don't give them any orders. Sit back, watch them. They're going to do things. And whatever it is, pick the wrong shade eyeshadow and buy it for you. You love it. Surprise wash your car with Comet. You love it. It's of course better if you can teach them how not to do that, but you start off with, oh, you really want to help me, don't you? This car needed a wash. You are such a sweetheart. Can I show you how I wash cars so it doesn't scratch so badly? But first acknowledge it, right? Because that intention is golden, and you'll know from your own experience, if you do this wonderful thing, you're making sushi, you're 5 hours on your feet, you're making this incredible meal, and this friend comes and goes, raw fish? Not for me. Do you got some real food? You go, oh no! And you're trying to be gracious and go, well, I guess I could have asked, gee, I have some macaroni and cheese. You know, whatever. Just feel, oh, crush. Because for 5 hours you're going, oh, he's going to love this. I'm going to make it so beautiful with a sprig of this. It's a work of art. I'm going to create this wonderful effect. He's going to love it. This is my symbol of my care. This is my communication of my appreciation for this fellow. And he goes, yeah, I go, oh, no, break my heart. And your kids have been in need of helping you, and most likely have been helping you, and we haven't been seeing it. So make a little note, put it on the wall, because if you put these little reminders on the wall, they will be more in your face than what you automatically do because your parents did it to you. And that's what we're breaking away from, right? This new millennium is going to be better than the last. It will be this next generation that will make it better, and we are the guardians of this generation. And it's up to us to guide them, prepare them, because we need them. And I hope that with this data from L. Ron Hubbard, it will be easier for you, and you'll do a better job. And I hope we can get together, not that you did a bad job, but better. Keep getting better. And we hope we will get together again. We'll pick up that subject of drugs. We'll pick up the subject of teenagers and all the other questions that came up. And now I would like to thank you and L. Ron Hubbard for this invaluable data.
Thank you.
And they have to feel like they're contributing, and they have to feel like they're important, and that contribution has to have value. I noticed that he actually started to feel important, and that he took pride in that. And there was a whole evolution that happened to him as a being because he started to care about his exchange with the family.
Basically, it's the only workable method for raising children. The children are just much more willing to help out, much more willing to contribute, much more willing to be in communication with you.
Kids usually don't want to work. But I finally got to the point where I said, you know, you need to do this and be a part of this family. And he said to me one day, he says, you know, Mom, I feel better when I've given back to you and Dad. If he's not allowed to contribute, he can be made to feel almost like he's a criminal, like he's been bad. I just relax now and just let him do what it is he's going to do to contribute. And he's come up with some very spectacular things. And I'd say the biggest change now is that I really love my kid. Before, I mean, I loved him as a mother. I would do anything, you know, but I love him as a person. He's somebody that I would pick as a friend. He's just a really, really neat human being. And I think that's the biggest change, is I recognized it, you know.
Can you tell me, what are parents up against?
Oh, they're up against a great deal. But I think what hurts the most, what they tell me about most, is children have an attitude. It's very painful for them. They can't understand why the children have this attitude, this approach to life. Yeah. Of course, their approach to life is based on what they are thinking with. They got some information somewhere. All around them, they're being bombarded with information. And it has an influence on their attitude. There's something that you can do about it. There's a way of dealing with that. It certainly is not coming down very hard on the attitude. Yeah, because that's just the result of a way of thinking.
Behavior of children seems to be so complex. I mean, I hear about kids who are lying and cheating and stealing and using drugs, and it just seems there's just so much that's out in the behavior of children. It seems that the solution would be very complicated as well.
It seems. Well, we've had so far some very harsh and complex and sometimes mysterious solutions being offered to children with this behavior, destructive behavior, being dishonest and all that. But have you noticed it hasn't worked? Because we have more and more children with that problem. So just maybe we should have a different approach. Just maybe. It's funny how, look at it for a moment, the bigger the problem, the more we feel that we need a huge solution, a harsh solution. And it hasn't panned out. It's not what works. Yeah? And I understand that parents would approach it that way, and even professionals would approach it that way, because they panic. You care so much for the child, you want to make sure he does all right. And in your fear, you grab for the greatest impact that will balance out this big problem. But the big problem is just a result of a not understanding of what we're dealing with. Yeah. If you really know what you're dealing with, you can handle it very gently. You can imperfectly actually compare that to a computer expert and a complete ignoramus on the subject of computers. Yeah? The person who knows nothing about computers will after a while start banging and randomly press buttons and press the button 8 times just to get on with it, you know, not knowing that he now 8 times called up that frame and it's all over top of each other. So if you are not familiar with what you are dealing with, you inadvertently create some undesirable situations, and you panic more and you press more buttons, and at a certain point, you know, it's so scrambled the screen goes blank, and then you go to a professional. Yeah? Unfortunately, in the field of raising and educating children, we're a little thin on professionals that will approach with real knowledge and gentleness. Yeah? We have an awful lot of them that will approach it with harshness and drugs, which is not the way to go. Never. But have you ever seen a real expert work on a computer? It's almost a dance. It's a beautiful thing to see. Yeah? They can create on it. It's marvelous. That's how you can handle children too. But you have to know what you're dealing with. Yeah? It's actually not a bad comparison, though I would never want to say that children are computers. Far from it.
When my son was growing up, people told me what to expect. Oh, the terrible twos are coming, he's going to be rebellious, and then when he's a teen, he's going to become even more rebellious, and he may disappear from home, and all of this, you know. And I was thinking, geez, you know, what a life to look forward to. What about this teen rebellion?
That's funny, you know. You can predict these things, right? So there's a pattern. The terrible twos. I never had a problem with my 2-year-old. I was the exception. And it isn't, yeah, I guess that's what you get. You get patterns. You get people who always run into certain problems at certain ages. And then it becomes normal. And then you might end up thinking that all children go through these stages and that that is natural or normal or part of growing up because you see it all around you. Well, maybe it is a result of not exactly knowing how to handle the kids, yeah? And after not handling them correctly or effectively, you get this as a result. It isn't normal for a child to be rebellious. It is expected, and you see it around you very much, but is it normal? I'm not so much wanting to pitch for being normal, because it's almost average. We want to pitch for better than that, right? But to be expected. You don't have to expect it, and you don't have to fall prey to it. You can be in control, and control is not a dirty word. Because you can have loving control, understanding control. Really.
So does this mean that kids can grow up and not have these strange behaviors?
Absolutely. It is not natural for a person to go through hell growing up. It's not. It is common, but that doesn't make it okay. And it's painful for the parents to see it. Yeah? So we can avoid this. We can have children who are in communication, who are loving, who want to be part of the family, who willingly contribute, care, are aware of people around them. That's what I would like to call normal, and we can achieve this. We have achieved it for many years. Now we're making sure that others can achieve it too. Why not? Let's have a wonderful experience raising children. It's not a penance, it's a joy. It can be.
That's great. No, that's the one thing that struck me when I came to your school. You know, is when as soon as I parked my car, some kid passed by and he said, "Your tire is low. You know, I'm gonna fix it for you." And he went and he fixed it, and I was
Dumbfounded, right?
dumbfounded. Totally. I
Yeah.
mean, for a kid, for a child, you know, a young teen to pass by and look at me, look at the car, say there's something wrong there, and offer to do it and do it. I've never seen anything like that.
Yeah, yeah. Just for a child to be aware of the environment, actually see things, and jump into action and feel that it is up to him to do something about it. That is already a treat. That also should be in the category of normal, don't you think? Yeah? Really, look at the people you like to have around you in life. Those who notice you, who will jump in voluntarily and help out, right? Somebody who's aware of other people. And with children, we just wait. When is it going to happen? When is he going to wake up? When is he going to be part of the family? Well, when did he step out of the family and what happened? Something did happen, you know. It's easily handled. It's hard to have, it's hard to accept that you have such a big, painful problem and that there might be an easy solution, an inexpensive, easy solution that you can do at home, but there is. I'm glad to say there is. Okay?
But there's some kids who just plain don't listen to their parents. So what are parents to do but impinge upon them?
Yeah. Impinge means get louder and get frustrated and say, if I told you once, I told you 1,000 times. Which should lead you to believe that many times saying it and being loud doesn't work, because you know, you can get louder and you can say it more times and they still don't hear you, right? And you get the idea that they're hearing you but they're ignoring you. So in this video we're going to look at how to talk to a child so they hear you the first time, Wouldn't that be a treat? Yeah, most parents don't believe it. They go, oh, not my kid. And then they do it. And they're stunned. Yeah, there is a way. There is a way.
I understand that your seminars are based on the works of L. Ron Hubbard. Can you tell me a little bit about those works?
L. Ron Hubbard has written many works, many self-help books also. And you can actually use these tools to make your life better. And the ones that I have studied are the ones having to do with raising children. And whatever success I've had is strictly due to what I've read and used that are in those books. It is because of his, this is what I like so much about L. Ron Hubbard, his deep understanding of people and his incredible compassion. This is not a cold attitude. This has nothing to do with being impressive or controlling and breaking the way you break a horse. This is all based on truly understanding the world of a child and where they're coming from. And that's why the approach can be so gentle and effective. And that's why I love it. And that's why most parents initially think that it won't work, because it's not harsh enough. You don't need to be harsh if you know what you're doing. L. Ron Hubbard has observed people so well without preconceived ideas, just actually seeing what they go through, that he could write simple things that so many writers have completely overlooked, and they were key in the understanding of people. Yeah? Most books that I read before I read the books of L. Ron Hubbard were dealing with the consequences of mishandlings. And L. Ron Hubbard writes about how to do it correctly so you never run into these consequences. And then he writes about, and if you've done it already wrong, this is how you can roll it all back and fix it up nonetheless. He also, oh, I can talk about him for hours. He never makes you feel wrong. You can read his books and feel still that you are, which is true, a well-intentioned parent who just didn't have this information. And there isn't anything that can't be yet dealt with. There's no hopelessness in this book. There's never resort to harshness or drugs or anything. You know, it's fabulous, really fabulous. I'm glad you asked me that question. It's my favorite.
I read some of the letters that parents and teachers wrote you, and it's really quite remarkable. But I wanted to ask you, what do you perceive as the parents' most difficult problems?
What they're most anxious about?
Yes.
Yeah. Believe it or not, it's not doing their homework. The kids not doing their homework, not wanting to go to school. They are worried about their future. What will become of my child? He's so unprepared. Yeah? Yeah. And knowing what I know, I understand that they don't want to do it. It is amazing. Yeah. Of course, nothing they study in school has a great deal to do with them, with their life. It isn't real to them. Yeah. It doesn't align with their goals and their purposes. They actually, most of them, forgot. You ask this generation, what do you want to be? What do you want to do? What do you want to make of your life? And they tell you what they want to have. Yeah. Not what they want to produce, what effects they want to create in life, what they want to be proud of at the end of the day. That's not even there anymore. They had it, and it slipped away. It's amazing. And in the books that I use in this lecture, L. Ron Hubbard actually tells us how to find that goal that they lost. They still have it. It's buried, but it's there. It's covered up, but it's there, and you can uncover it, and you can rekindle it, and you can motivate that child again. Yeah, because force won't do it. Force just won't do it. Even when they dutifully will go to their room and learn their lessons and do their exams and make their A's and get their report cards, you still don't get a child who will use what he's learned, continue to learn for the rest of his life, because he hasn't learned to love learning. He's only been forced to learn. Yeah? Interesting subject. Affects the rest of his life. So parents have good reason to be very worried, and that's what they're worried about.
The last question is, what do you hope to accomplish with your seminars?
Oh, nothing much. Just happy families, love and communication in the family, and this isn't pie in the sky. Children who are willing to help, aware of their family members, happy to be in the family, a safe place to grow up, sane, moral, ethical, friendly, happy children. It's okay to shoot for that. And we're doing it. We are doing it. The technology for that is available. We're doing it. Yeah. And it, you know, it is not just for the family, it's even for society. Family is the building block of a society. You have good, strong families with some values. You have a much stronger society. That's where we have to start.